What's happening, everybody? Jeff Lightsy Jr. here with the Black Boss channel. Be sure to hit the thumbs up button, like, share, subscribe. Now, the Derek Chauvin trial is going on in Minnesota. Obviously, Derek Chauvin is the police officer that we watched on camera murder George Floyd. Like there's no debate about that. We literally watched him put his knee on George Floyd's neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds. We watched it. Right, like it is what it is. Like that's what happened. Like there's video proof, there's evidence that what we saw, our eyes wasn't confusing us, is what we saw. So his trial starts today, actually, and I have the feeling that this is not going to go the way that we all that it should. I think us as Black people have seen this episode one too many times to know that there's a cop killing a Black man, a lot of times on camera, and then guys come in, they get a settlement for the family, the biggest settlement in the history of the state or the history of said city. Insert your city, insert your state. They get the big settlement. The cop goes to trial. Sometimes the cops don't even make it a trial. Like, let's be honest, like sometimes there's not even charges presented to get a cop to get a trial. And then Breonna Taylor, that was the case. And this time he actually is charged with something. Hell, he bonds out. He kills a man on camera, bonds out. He's allowed bond. He bonds out. Now he's going to trial. Well, that settlement's already paid. So therefore, in a lot of folks' mind, that debt has been paid, unfortunately. Unfortunately, that's how some people think. But what happens is when you pay a large lump sum settlement, that kind of compromises the trial. You pay the settlement. Now, I'm not saying George Floyd's family doesn't deserve the settlement that was given to them, but that kind of puts the trial in jeopardy because before, like, yes, you get your settlement, but the trial is now kind of compromised because money has been distributed by the state, paid by taxpayers. It wasn't paid by a police pension. It wasn't paid by a police pension. It doesn't affect the cops at all. The people of Minnesota, their taxpayer dollars paid for that settlement, that largest settlement in Minnesota history, or the Minneapolis history, or wherever it took place. So it wasn't like it took place from the cops. Don't hurt the cops at all, but it compromises your trial. People know, they have those images. They know that took place. So what this trial is going to tell you a lot about, it's not going to tell you a lot about our justice system. We understand that our justice system is corrupt. We live in a white supremacist society. So, if he gets off, that's not going to tell you a lot because a lot of you who are watching this video expect him to get off. Unfortunate and as sad as that sound, a lot of you who watched George Floyd get murdered on camera expect this police officer to get off. A lot of you do. I do. Almost. I almost expect it. It sounds ridiculous to say, but I do. So that's not what's going to support what it's going to tell you a lot about. It's going to tell you a lot about the Joe Biden, Kamala Harris administration. Because one of the things that we were promised as Black people, that we were promised during their campaign was that things like George Floyd wouldn't take place. Things like George Floyd would get justice. His family would get justice. And last time I checked, cutting him a check ain't justice. Cutting his family a check ain't justice. That man can't never speak to his daughter again. His daughter, who was a young girl, has to live the rest of her life without her dad. Just because you gave him a check for $10, $12, $20 million, it's not justice. It's going to tell you a lot about the Joe Biden, Kamala Harris administration. If you haven't learned a lot about like a lot of you were selling me and were selling us, for those of us who weren't Joe Biden fans, you guys were selling us that he was the lesser of two evils. It wasn't that he was that great of a person, that he was the lesser of two evils. Okay, that's a terrible sales pitch, by the way. It's like, if do I want, like, no, it's just a terrible sales pitch, but whatever. So now, this is a time for the America under the Democratic administration. You got Democrats, got the presidency, the House, the Senate. Trump and them were so racist that it's now time for the Democrats in charge to make sure that justice is served, right? Ain't that what I was sold? Ain't that what I was told? Ain't that what was like when these people go to the Breakfast Club and they go on all these, urban style platforms to talk to people that look like me and you to get their votes, and the black people to tell me to vote, 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 to vote, vote, vote. Well, this is what your vote was supposed to solve. It's supposed to solve some of these problems. Now, George Floyd obviously is one case in millions of cases across this country, but this is the high profile case. This is the high, all eyes are on this case. If this man gets off, it won't surprise you. It won't surprise me. But for those of you vote people, vote advocates, what did voting get us if this man gets off? What did voting get you? It got you another cop who can kill a black man on camera off. It got your taxpayer dollars to pay the family in a settlement before the trial, which probably compromises the trial, kind of. And if you're not so sure, if you're like supremely confident that this man is going to jail, like I want this man to go under the damn jail, trust me, I'm right there with you. But if you're really, really confident that Derek Chauvin is going to jail, why is it that I'm looking at these things from the trial? His charges are second and third degree murder and second degree manslaughter. It's not first degree murder, so you don't get the maximum on that. Okay, so you avoid, I don't know what Minnesota's like death penalties and things like that are, but you avoid all of that, right? The jury has 9 white people. Don't act like that doesn't matter. Out of 15, 9 out of 15 people are white. We understand that to get a conviction in most states, you need all 15 to say guilty. If there's an abstention or someone says, oh no, he'll get a mistrial. He'll get off. So that's significant. There's 9 white people on this trial. This timeline is to take 4 weeks. And it says, listen to this. The courthouse in Minnesota is surrounded by concrete barriers and razor wire. Concrete barriers, razor wire. Concrete barriers and razor wire. Why is it that the courthouse is surrounded by concrete barriers and razor wire? Because they're preparing for the worst. They understand that there's a very likely, almost highly likely chance that there's a mistrial. He's able to get off. With 9 white people on the jury, a settlement of excess of 10, 12, 15, 20 million already been paid. He's a cop. That money was paid by your taxpayer dollars, the city of Minnesota, your taxpayer dollars, not by the police pensions. It's a chance, maybe even a high chance, this man doesn't even get convicted for second or third degree murder or second degree manslaughter. This trial will tell you a lot about the voting system. They told us, if you vote for Joe Biden, if you vote for Kamala Harris, if you vote for Democratic Party, these things would change. That's what I was told. That's what I was told. That's what you was told. We're about to see if there's any truth to that. Any, even a speck of truth to that. If there's even a speck of truth to that. Because the Democrats control the House, they control the Senate, they control the presidency. They told us Donald Trump was the big bad boogeyman. They told us Donald Trump was the reason why George Floyd and Breonna Taylor happens. We know that's not true, but they told us that he inspires those type of activities. That's what we were told, even though that type of activity has happened throughout the history of America, whether it was Obama as president or Bill Clinton as president or name your favorite Democratic president. All of that stuff happened. But we were told that. So we will see. It will tell me a lot about the voting system and about Joe Biden and about Kamala Harris. What will it tell you? The Derek Chauvin trial starts now in Minnesota. We'll see what happens. Once again, I'm Jeff Lightsy Jr. with the Black Boss channel. Be sure to hit the thumbs up button on your way out. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'll see you.